Alright, well, welcome back. We've got a Game Boy Color here today, which got off Mercari for, I think it was about 30 bucks total, which seems to be a pretty decent price for Game Boys these days. And case is in pretty decent condition. Reported as it doesn't play games, doesn't read games, so I figure we'll take a crack at it. Missing the back shell, which seems to be a really common occurrence for Game Boy Colors. Not really sure why, but these can be pretty easily replaced for a couple dollars off of Mercari. So we're going to take a look and see what we got going on. I'll throw some batteries into it and try it without a game first. There's an on-off switch here. Let's see, we've got power. Nothing on the screen either, so that might be an indicator or something. We'll turn this on too. Nothing. So one of the things I'm going to do before I crack it open is I'm going to try my universal cleaning kit from, I don't even know how old again, this guy, and see what's on it. That's it was $8.99 back in the day, and the most recent system has on it is the Sega CD, so that should tell you something. But good news is with all these little tools, and that's the part that I need. It comes with a proprietary cleaning solution too, a performance game cartridge cleaning solution. I just it was dry completely. I'm guessing it all evaporated over the years. I replaced it with just some of my denatured isopropyl alcohol. So what I'm going to do is take this and put some on there. I love this little dropper applicator. Is actually kind of perfect for what I need. I'm just going to put some alcohol on here, face it towards the contacts, and just gingerly insert it. Make sure that I've got resistance, and just kind of rub it back and forth with that alcohol on it to get any of the corrosion off that there might be. Because the pins, I don't know if I can get a good shot of it in there or not. Probably not. No. The pins look good though, from what I can tell. So I think it's probably just a matter of some corrosion, as it seems to be a common occurrence. I've been finding in a lot of cases when something says, oh, it doesn't read games with a lot of these old cartridge systems, pretty much just need to clean the contacts. So let's probably been ample enough time to try this again. Again, power, nothing on the screen. So let's crack it open, see what we got going on here. Take the batteries out. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the tri-wing screws. Gonna take these off here. Some other little screw bays. It's my first Game Boy Color I've worked on, and one of the reasons I picked this up, even though I've got a original Game Boy, apart from just the console preservationist in me, is that you can replace the color screens with a drop-in IPS. Drop-in meaning that you don't have to have any soldering done, which I can do, but if I don't have to, then I can maintain the originality of the system and even can keep the original screen or parts. I'm all for that. So this just lifts off like that. I'm going to drop this over and put the screws aside. We'll put the case over there. And here we've got our system. So the first thing I'm going to do is just check the cable, because it has power. We know it has power, but nothing else. Everything looks clean in here. It looks really nice. And one thing that I do notice right off the bat is this little locking tab on the ribbon cable is off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slide this open. I'm just going to reseat this ribbon connector, make sure it's straight, and then try to push them down at the same time so it gets a nice secure connection. Okay, try it again. It really wasn't much, but let's see if that does anything. And throw the batteries back in. Okay. Oh, hey, that's a good sign. So that's what shows when you don't have a game in there, which means the ribbon cable was what was causing the screen issue. I'm going to throw this in, turn this back on, and we got the Nintendo symbol, which means it read the game. And we've got cartridge in here, or let me turn this angling up a little bit so we can see. The lighting is quite terrible. It's, oops, B, just start. And the one thing, I don't seem to have any sound. I'm gonna plug in my headphones real quick, see if it's a speaker issue or if it's a sound issue. Oh, I hope the audio will pick up on that or not. But it plays, and I have sound through the headphone jack, so that's a good sign. It means that the audio is getting sent through, and I think in most cases it's not an issue with the like amplifier if the headphone jacks are operating. Could be wrong on that, because I think it depends on the system. But I know in this case, it's a good sign that I can actually get the audio. So let's take a look at the speaker here. It looks okay contact-wise. Right here and here, the solder joints look to be in good shape. So let's see what it takes. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3 Phillips head screws. Let's get the motherboard off and see what's on the other side of that speaker there. Put those over there. Yeah, the other thing about these Game Boy Colors is there's games that won't even play on an original Game Boy. So even the emulator card that I have, or this flash card, it's got Game Boy Color games on it. But if you try to run it on the old DMG, it won't work. Oh! Well, that's not good. See in here we've got a little, it's likely the coil from the speaker. Or not sure what type, what that is. Maybe some shielding, but that fell out of the speaker. If we flip it over here, you can also see there's a wire that I don't know if that's loose. Yep, that wire's frayed. So I think our speaker's shot, which fortunately that's an easy fix. I'm just gonna drop this back in there. I guess it goes like that. Cool. Well, I'm gonna order a new speaker and a new back shell, or I'm sorry, a new battery cover for the back of this baby, and we'll see if we can get it back up and running with sound. But the fact that it displays, I like that. And the button contacts, I didn't test all of them, but those look in good shape, so I don't expect any issues there. Same with the silicone pressure pads. So I think it's looking like this is a pretty good deal, because if I can fix the speaker for a couple bucks, that's awesome. Love finding deals like this. So we're gonna put them back together and order a speaker. We'll have to, looks like we'll have to solder this in one way or another. So I'll do another video with the new speaker, and we'll see what we can do. See you then. Alright, so it's time to replace that speaker. I've got a new one here. It's supposed to be the high quality speaker to replace the busted one, which has this copper ring focus that fell out of it. So we're going to use the new desoldering iron to desolder these 2 points here, and yeah, just solder on the new speaker. Let's see how it goes. So first thing we're going to do is make sure that our fan's on, and we'll go quiet for a bit. Alright, well, things got a little bit out of view there for a second. And I ended up having to take out the screen, which I probably should have done first. I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit quicker and easier than it was. I think it worked out just fine. But it should always be better safe than sorry. So next, we're just going to pop this back in to the case. First, we're going to get the screen back on here. And hope that everything turned out okay. Alright, we got the screen seated in. And the speaker is in. We're just gonna, I guess, bend these back like that. We'll see how that does. Yep, feels pretty good. Alright, I'm gonna get me some batteries. No, I just had some. I was just doing a video the other night and I was using some battery adapters for that. Alright, we'll be back after these messages. Alright, got the batteries now. Let's see how this goes. If all goes well, I believe we'll hear the telltale sign of a need a power button first, or a power switch. Can't turn it on without that. Okay, put that. Jeez. Get that in frame here. There we go. Let's give this a shot. Alright. Oh, that was a good sound. Alright, let's try it with a game. Moment of truth, though, the other thing I did get was got the shell for the batteries, which is helpful. Okay. Got my ROM card here. That's good. Looking and sounding real nice. Cool. Alright. Volume sounds really good, nice and controllable, and we're good to go. Cool. Well, next time what I'm going to do is I have I've actually got a new shell, transparent green, that's my style, and a new IPS display, so backlit Game Boy Color display with a new case, new shell. I'm going to try swapping that out for this, and so that'll be next time, but we'll have a good speaker, and yeah, this thing works like a charm. Super happy with it. See you then. Alright, well, I've got the back off of this here because we got our new shell in the mail today. Nice pretty green. And the other thing we got was a new screen. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to test out the new screen. Make sure that everything works properly. From what I've seen, this is supposed to be a pretty simple install. We'll see how it ends up. There's the new screen. As you can see, there's only one connection here. It's going to be upside down, and this is going to flip over the edge. So what I'm going to do is remove our existing ribbon here. And that screen does still works. So I want to make sure we take extra special care not to mess it up. And then we'll insert this one. Come on, there we go. And we'll slide that down. So we're going to keep these over to the side. This, it looks like this is an extra wire. Not entirely sure why. But I'll take extra wires where I can get them, because why not? But we're going to move these over here, so I don't want them to get crimped by the back. Because all I'm going to do is try to do this without breaking the ribbon. Be a dumb thing to do, but I just want to see if this thing works. So we're going to turn her on. Nothing so far. Wondering if I got the ribbon not quite hooked up here. I'm gonna open this up. See if we can press this in a little bit more. It feels pretty tight. Well, it's in there. Interesting. Hopefully I didn't get a dud. That would stink. Because all of that looks good from what I can tell. Jeez, I'm not even focusing here. All that looks good. Let's try this one more time. Just see if maybe reseating the ribbon cable does the trick. Not getting anything interesting. Very interesting. Oh, you know what? I wonder. Nothing. Well, that's not good. Alright. Well, maybe what we'll do is we'll take it apart and do it the right way and see if that makes a difference. But from what I can tell, there shouldn't really be any issues here. All I can see is maybe this isn't inserted as much as it should be. Looks like it is. The other ribbon looks fine. Man, it's gonna stink. I waited for so long. I don't think there's any other. I got those wires, which makes me wonder if I need extra power, considering that I see a ground here. I may end up needing to solder things after all, even though this thing was pitched as not needing to solder anything at all. Of course, that's only sometimes the case. I know with my Game Boy Advance screens that I got from AliExpress, those ones, they do show that you got to solder in the ribbons if you want to have the adjustable screen functionality. But this one did say that there was no need for soldering. I'm just going to pop this. Yep, so we still got that. So, alright, well, I guess I'm going to do some more research and see if we can figure out what we're supposed to do. My guess is that I'm going to have to solder something here to ground. I mean, that's a SEL for select, I assume, would have to do with these, selecting the new screen. But, yeah, not off to a good start so far. Guess we'll see what happens. Okay, we're back, and I think I got this figured out. Sometimes I can be a little bit of a dummy, especially when you get into a rush. So, I think what's going on is we had it flipped over. So, notice how the contacts are on the top. contacts were on the bottom before. I was flipping it over the wrong way. Trying to make things more difficult for myself, apparently. Look at that. That fits in much, much better now. Slide that down. Okay. Wow, this would be even easier to see the results this way. And I'm going to have to flip it over. Put the batteries in. Alright, moment of truth. Turn off the light here, 'cause it's supposed to be backlit. Hey, look at that. Alright, and just for giggles, I'm going to throw in the cartridge. Just make sure that everything looks okay there. Looking good. Awesome. Alright, really like that. So, next step is going to be to de-shell this guy and throw the motherboard into the nice new green shell. We'll add the new screen too. I think we're going to do that part first, and we'll get it into the new shell. We'll watch that whole process and then see what it looks like afterwards. Now the fun starts. This will be my first time swapping shells on a Game Boy Color. Done this on a Game Boy Advance before, but never in a Game Boy Color. So our motherboard on the side there. New case. It's interesting as they even give one of these, and compared to the original, I gotta say, it's pretty darn close. There's definitely some differences. Oh, made in China, made in Japan. There's one big one. And you can definitely tell the Nintendo and the Game Boy. Definitely not legit, but I'm gonna be keeping this one for my personal collection, so I'm not really too terribly worried about it. I'm also going to be keeping the shell in case I want to swap it back out at a future time. The other thing this thing's got is front. Not too bad. Looks pretty darn close. A little deeper on the plastic molding there, but not terrible. So there's the lens. Set that over the side. Got all new buttons and membranes. Those as well. Everything's all new and nice and clean. Got a new set of screws, which is nice. So this, the first thing to go in. Interesting. So I'm gonna have to use some sticky tape. I think they provided some in here. They have insulating film on the back. The PCB board. Last. This, I believe, is what we're going to be putting on the front. Oops. Yep, there's the sticky-sidedness. Doesn't really have any directions on which way it goes, so we're just going to kind of play this by ear. And try to get that down as straight as possible. Sticky stuff always makes me nervous. I actually was replacing a screen on a Nintendo DS not too recently, and ended up messing it up with the new screen, because again, they don't really give any directions for the new ones that they send you. They send you a whole bunch of adhesive, and if you haven't done it before, or if you haven't watched anything on it, it's a little difficult to figure out which goes where. And I totally messed it up. So I ended up having to use the original. It was with the system. This one at least wasn't too bad. This one for the Game Boy Color. It's pretty straightforward. But the one for the DS Lite had a whole bunch of different layers to it. So I don't know if you can see, there's that sticky film there. And the one thing that I did notice, interesting, is that upside down? I swear to God, it is. Son of a biscuit. Oh. So you can see this line down here. This should be up here, and this is not lined up. Oh, oof. Alright, well, what I'm going to try to do, I'm actually going to try to stick this back on. So everybody watches my videos, right? They get to see somebody mess up so that you don't have to, right? I like to show the little mistakes too, because nobody likes to watch somebody do everything right the first time, right? There we go. So I'll find out all the issues and make all the mistakes so that you don't have to. Alright, so we get that back on. Maybe. And I'm going to try peeling this off very carefully and hope it comes up. It's totally not going to. Not without a fight. Oh. Okay. Well, okay. This doesn't work. I might just have to order some double-sided sticky tape. We're gonna try it though. Oof, it's been a mess. Alright, well, that really didn't turn out as terrible as I imagined it would once I realized what had happened. Try to push that back from the edge. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna call it a day. That's gonna be covered up by the shield, so I'm not too worried about this. And it turned out pretty well. So the next thing we're gonna do, to make sure I do this part right, is I gotta take off the film here. I should really be, you know what I'm gonna do for this? Should have done this from the beginning. Get some gloves here. Every time I'm working with screens, it's nice to avoid getting fingerprints on everything. Keeps the oils off. So. Alright. Peel this off here. Now, the one part they did show in the video was I need to push this all the way to the top right corner and press down. Let's see how this looks. Well, looks pretty good. What those marks are. Okay. It's looking good, and before I do anything else, I'm going to place the lens on so that I don't, there's no screws or anything that I got to worry about, but I don't want to scratch up the new screen, so okay. It's looking pretty good. Hopefully when it comes out it's all nice and straight, and then I'll remove some of the protective plastic when we're all done. Alright, well, it's looking good there. Another thing that's new with this is these pads And I assume that they're sticky on one side. You're supposed to put it up underneath up here, because that's where the that's where you make contact to change the settings on it, which is pretty neat little improvement, quality of life improvement from these screens. Oh. I think what I'm going to do, since that looks like that's going to cover up those areas, is I am going to remove the covering on these and stick those down. I mentioned that I hate sticky things. I'm really more attuned to screws. It's a lot easier. Especially things that I want to look nice afterwards that aren't going to be hidden underneath. I mean, yes, this is going to be hidden underneath, but of course I have a transparent case, so not going to be all that hidden. Oh, there we go. So, one thing I'm going to do is try to push the wire. Well, how that's really going to work. I think we'll put this underneath here. And then we'll just kind of tuck the wire like that. Let's see how that works with one before we move on to the next one. Oh yeah, I think that'll work nice. That'll work pretty nicely. So it's kind of tucked under there, and you're supposed to be able to tap right here. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll find out. Make sure that's nice and pressed down on the plastic. Really interested to see how that's actually going to work. I guess we'll see. Alright, take this back out. So what these are supposed to do, these are the controls for the screen. So it controls brightness, contrast, and you can put a number of filters. You can enable a number of filters on it, which is pretty neat. Compared to the screen that it used to have, I've done this for a DMG Game Boy, which is a really big quality of life improvement. Rather than getting one of the lamps that they used to sell, you can get a backlit LED IPS screen, which is really nice. Okay, got that in there. Gonna press this in. Okay, we'll see how that works. I think that's going to go kind of underneath or over top. Yep, guess that'll go over top, just like that. When we cover it up, we'll see how that looks. If we need to, actually, I guess I can tuck that underneath. Like so. There we go. And the little infrared lens will sit right like, I can't remember which side was up and which side was down, but we'll figure that out when we put the top shell on, which we will do momentarily. First thing we got to do, of course, is put the buttons on. Got a new switch here. place in there. Got our A button. And D-pad. It's also got, what is that? Oh. Oh, interesting. I think that's supposed to be the infrared. Interesting. B. And now we got our silicone membranes here. Okay, not entirely sure what that is, but we're going to put the start button and select button in, and we've got our membrane for the A and B. Come on, get on there. Okay, now we can place our motherboard. I'm probably going to just seat this for now. Actually, you know what? I am going to screw this in. At least with one screw. Make things a whole heck of a lot easier while we're playing around and testing it. Might have to use their screws. Looks like the originals are a little bit wider, or they have a different thread configuration. So we're going to try it with the ones they supplied. Oh yeah. Sometimes it happens. The molds they use aren't completely identical to the original. No surprise really there. Alright, we're gonna push the screen ribbon in, which kind of regretting not doing that first, but that's actually not too bad. Good. It's nice and tight. Now, let's see which way this fits here. I've actually got an atomic purple Game Boy I'm going to look at real quick from one of my other videos. Wanted to look and see which way they've got that facing. It looks like it's facing down like so into the back shell like that. Oops, like that. So if I flip it over, it should fit in like, okay. There we go. Okay. So, everything's fitted in there. Put that together. Oh, okay. Ooh, thought that was a big old scratch. Like, I don't know how that happened there. Alright. Now we're going to slap some batteries in. And do the moment of truth. We'll turn that off. Oops. Yeah, let's see. Oh, looks like the light. Oh, there we go. Take my gloves off for this. I think it'll do better. That's what I love about this. Oh, that's really nice. Quick touch. Factory reset. That's pretty darn cool. Yeah, that's looking really nice. We'll turn this off. One thing I don't get is the... Oh, there we go. It's like it doesn't snap like the original used to. But I think that turned out really well. So we're going to turn the light back on here. We're going to... I'm just going to cut for a minute while I put the rest of the screws in. There's 2 on the inside and 6 on the outside. We're going to get her put back together. I'm going to put... Actually, well, I guess we'll just finish up this part here. There's a insulating film on the back of the PCB board, so I guess we should put that on there. And I assume that's this board here. Not entirely sure. Again, no real instructions for it, but I'll protect the chip as best as we can, I suppose. It's possible that's supposed to be flipped upside down. Let's see. See if that... yep, it fits a little bit better. Like an L shape, so that way it goes along the side here and actually covers all the chips. Alright, well, I guess that works. So the next thing we're going to do is I'll just screw in these while I'm recording. Put the rest of these in. I think this ended up turning out pretty well. I'm excited. I was getting worried a little bit once we ran into the issue with the adhesive. It's always the adhesive, I swear. That's one thing, though, that I guess I have learned is that when it comes to adhesive membranes that you're placing only once, take your time and dry fit it a few times. Do it upside down once or twice. Make sure that the way that you're going to be putting it on is the way it's supposed to go. That's really nice. And these screws, oh wow, look, they actually included tri-wing. I'm kind of surprised by that. I figured I was going to be getting some generic Gameboy, or I'm sorry, some generic Phillips head screws instead. So, pleasant surprise. Okay. Now, I didn't do this with my Game Boy Advance either, but I don't think I'm going to put the sticker on the back. At least not for a while. I'll hang on to it, but I just kind of like having it like unlabeled. I don't want somebody thinking I'm trying to pass it off. And honestly, the markings on the case itself and on the lens look better than they do on the sticker. Like, I don't need a serial number on it. I'm the one that put it together, so it doesn't really add much value to me. But everybody's different, I guess. I think it kind of depends on what your intention is with doing the shell. And sometimes you need to. Sometimes the shells are just in too poor condition to repair, and you just have to find a replacement. And heck, even some of the originals, like most of those, don't have a serial number, or if they do, their stickers are not in good condition either. So alright, this baby all but taking the little sticker off here, which honestly I am one of those people that I will probably just keep this on until it falls off on its own, or until I really need that that satisfying tear off, you know, sensation. So I'll probably just keep it off for now, and we'll just leave it. But we'll do one final maiden voyage with an actual game. Alright. Get our Nintendo. Oh, there we go. I got into the different modes. Press and hold. I think that brings the menu up. Nope. I can never remember. Well, let's test out the buttons. Yeah, kind of funky. Oops. This is definitely weird. There we go. I'm pretty sure if I press and hold this... dang. Oh, these are different pixel. You can do different I don't know what to call it. Pixel configurations. Scan lines, I think is what it's called. Weird. I'll have to play around with the scan. Ah. Huh. Yeah. I definitely don't like the touch as much. No pun intended. But let's see what we can do for game-wise. We'll just hit start. I know I've got something loaded. I'll make sure that everything else works. Got Link's Awakening going. Color looks really nice. And the alignment, I think ended up turning out pretty well too. So now I can play this in the dark. Pretty neat. So I have to figure out the touch controls. See what I can figure out with that. I feel like it's very sensitive, but also not. So I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. I want to say with the... There we go. Yeah. I like this because then I have a little bit more control over the settings. And then you can see color mode. There's a bunch of different modes. There we go. Kind of got to get my whole finger over the top. Pixel effects. There's nothing. There's scan lines of varying degrees. I don't know actually what FRM is. I looked it up at one point. The horizontal position, so you can slide it left and right, which is kind of interesting. I was at 17. I want to get it back. You can see it's kind of sliding it over to the right. There we go. I think I'm finally getting the hang of this. There we go. And then vertical position too. Then you can do a factory reset, which is nice. And if you just let it go, I think it'll disappear. And if I remember correctly, this is brightness. Yeah, just tapping the right hand side. So if I just leave the top left control alone, then I can toggle through the brightness, which is nice and convenient. So I think the Reshell turned out pretty well. And I kind of like the nice sleek design of the Game Boy Color compared to the old DMG. It's a nice little alternative. Only takes two AA batteries, plays both original Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And if you're looking for a switch up from the Game Boy Advance and still want to play your old Game Boy games, this is a nice alternative. So this is a fun little swap over in the Reshell from the original teal. There's the original along with the Reshell, and I think it turned out pretty well. Catch you next time.